Hello, everyone, and welcome to ESL 1 Katowice 2018, powered by Intel. We've got another great best of three for you guys today in the closed qualifiers for South America. We've got Team Infamous versus Mad Kings, and they actually just had a match where they went bat to bat off each other for, I believe it was GESC Jakarta. So another chance for them to get a rematch. I'm your caster, Moxie. I'm joined by Forge, and we're already into the draft here, seeing a lot of specific bans coming out.
Yeah, already we're seeing a lot of the Vision heroes from Mad Kings getting banned out. The Night Stalker, the Bounty Hunter, those really deep warding heroes that just kind of dominate your side of the map. And Mad Kings banning out the Tiny, who's kind of seen a bit of a resurgence lately. When Tiny was first kind of reworked, everyone thought he was garbage. He got a couple of buffs, and then we saw him as a super strong carry for a while. And now I think he's kind of settled into this really nice, comfortable zone of potential situational pick that I guess Mad Kings just doesn't want to run against.
We do have a little bit of a shakeup too with the side of Mad Kings. We've got a couple different players. We've got Benjaz over there, KZE as well. So pretty excited to see what they can do with this roster. But Clockwork getting picked up over on the side of Mad Kings is a very popular 4 position. Also gives them really nice initiation and some mana burn, which is also nice. And with that ban of the Razor, I'm almost wondering if we're going to see something like a Medusa getting picked up for Mad Kings. That is something that they really like to use. And having the Clockwork on their side too will make it so they don't have to worry about him really messing with her and trying to burn through that mana.
Yeah, it also might be an opening for the Benjaz Lifestealer. We saw a little bit of it yesterday. He did a lot of really good work with that. And with the Clockwork pickup, you have a really nice, easy to go to vehicle, hook shot, very powerful. You get the cogs that you're basically stuck in there with Benjaz and Sladine. So could be setting themselves up for a potential Lifestealer pick. We'll see what Infamous, if they read the similar situation or if they just kind of say, nope, we're not going to go for it. But Elder Titan and Bane getting picked up too, I think, are the most common kind of bully supports in the meta right now. Bane just completely destroying any kind of mid lane, and Elder Titan really being obnoxious with the early Astral Spirit harass and just the zoning you get from Astral Spirit later on.
We saw some really awesome plays actually in the match before this with SGE actually ran the Elder Titan Bane combo, and like you said, as most of the teams in South America will do, they sent Bane into the mid lane, just harassing constantly, making sure that there was no CS that was going to be able to get taken. Austin throwing out the Nightmare and just adding a little bit more protection. Elder Titan, Theolacor actually was playing that on SGE, and he just dominated this guy. You know, you don't normally think of an Elder Titan being a huge threat in the early game, but he was just running around punching everyone with that stapler and causing a lot of issues. So pretty interested to see what Infamous can do here with this particular hero. It also dissuades anyone that's really high agi generally. But we'll see what ends up happening. Puck picked up on the side of Mad Kings, and that's 2 really good vehicles. Like you said, we saw Benjaz playing that Lifestealer yesterday, so these are 2 nice vehicles for him to get into the fray very easily. I'm thinking that Mad Kings probably should be aware of what they're planning here, considering that, again, 2 really good vehicles and hit. He just played this, I believe, the other day against Midas Club, so we'll see if they'll take the time to ban it out.
The other really strong thing about Mad King's opening is that they already see both of the Infamous supports. There's like a 2% chance that Elder Titan gets run in the off lane, but realistically, that's going to be the 4 position. So what Mad Kings have done on the flip side is they've got themselves a very flexible draft. While Clockwork is usually played in that 4 position, and while Puck is normally a mid laner, both of these heroes can kind of rotate between 2 different roles. This could be an off lane Clockwork and a mid Puck, or it could be the off lane Puck, mid Clock or support Clockwork. There's a lot of flexibility.
That's getting really crazy there.
Yeah, that's a little. But the support Clock, like, they have a lot of flexibility in what they want to do with their draft. So I really like what Mad Kings have done, leaving their options open.
Yeah, they do ban out that Monkey King though. That's something that we saw Mad Kings playing, I believe, pretty recently against Infamous, actually, and I'm guessing they don't want flashbacks of that happening. Lone Druid and the DK being a really nice tanky frontliner, and being able to push towers pretty quickly, because that's something, granted, it's been a while since ESL 1 Genting qualifiers, but we definitely saw Infamous was favoring a very push-heavy strat at that time. Since then, the draft's still, fairly push-heavy, but they've focused a little bit more around team fighting. We saw them play against SG recently where they picked up the Shadow Fiend, Beastmaster, Elder Titan, Bane kind of thing. So we could see maybe something similar to that particular draft. Won't be seeing the Tiny, obviously. They go for the Sand King, though.
Yeah, so this gives them even more team fight to go with the Elder Titan. The Stomp gives you a basically free pass to just blink up, channel the Epicenter, and then stun afterwards. So lots of good setup there. The Bane, Fiend's Grip. There's a lot of really strong disable coming up from Infamous, and good setup for the Elder Titan Stomp as well, because that is a stun that, takes a second and a half to go off. You can't just like cancel it and recast it. So now they have two different heroes that can, Nightmare or Fiend's Grip or just Burrow Strike and set up the space for that Echo Stomp into or Splitter combo to go off.
Yeah, we saw earlier today a couple really nice setups here again for that Stomp, but again, Theolacor earlier, just he had the Bane stay over in the mid the entire time, and they just ran over the offlaner in that particular match. Didn't need any setup at all, so pretty interested here if they're gonna be very reliant on setting it up, or if the Elder Titan will be able to just land that Stomp quite easily. But depending on where they lane this puck, it'll be definitely a lot more difficult if we see the puck in the off lane like it's traditionally played for this particular past. But we'll be able to do a bit of zoning.
Yeah, I think it's more likely we'll see puck in the off lane just because while puck is a pretty elusive hero, they do have a ridiculous amount of stun already. The Enfeeble is very annoying for a puck to deal with because it's just such a high base damage hero, and you don't want to be struggling in the mid lane against a puck or as a puck. You want to be dominating that, harassing very effectively, dodging stuff with phase shift. So it's more likely, I think, with this Bane and Sand King that we'll see the puck move to the off lane just to kind of make sure the hero can still have an impact, but let the mid lane be taken over by someone who's going to have maybe a bit of an easier time, something like a Shadow Fiend who can just raise down waves. And
Shadow Fiend's still going to struggle pretty hard against the Bane, though, because he'll run out of the mana. Puck actually has the higher base damage, too. Although we could see a Shadow Fiend, like you mentioned, because there is, of course, a clockwork on the side of Mad Kings here, and it's pretty common to see the clock go ahead, pull out cogs, and start getting the denials, so that way he can start to build up those souls. But yeah, usually Puck, though, wants a fast 6, doesn't really need too much for farm, just to get him going, whereas you want something like a Shadow Fiend over in mid to really be able to get what he needs. But I'm interested to see if we're going to see a Babysitter coming out from either the Clock or the Rubik, depending on what they pick for their actual safe lane, or if they pick something that's fairly substantial, can handle its own stuff. Might see something like a Lycan or a Dusa. Probably not a Dusa, actually, unless it's going mid, but will allow these supports to be a little bit more helpful if needed for that mid lane.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Medusa pick in general, though now actually with the Chaos Knight, it's a little bit better to pick that because you can just very easily clear those illusions out. Stone Gaze just absolutely destroying that. So maybe now Medusa is a bit of a better pick, but against Bane and Sand King, you have all this just really good chain stun. And if you can prevent the Stone Gaze from coming out, the CK is going to just absolutely shred her. So it's still a little bit scary, but with some good plays from the Rubik and the Clockwork and some potential saves, it could still be a very good Medusa game.
They actually go for picking up the Sven, so I guess that's why they went and took out the Razor. Of course, Razor being a very good counter to that particular hero. There's kind of a high cooldown to play around, though, with the Sven, which I'm a little concerned about for Mad Kings. Just because, you have to take fights when God's strength is down. But on the flip side, the Phantasm on Chaos Knight also has a fairly decent cooldown as well, so be interesting. Maybe they're just concerned about all the illusions, and that's why they opted for Sven as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good safe way to ensure that you have good AoE clear. It's another stun to make sure that Elder Titan doesn't necessarily get off what he wants. The Fiend's Grip, if Puck gets Fiend's Grip, Sven has a core that has a stun that could just come out. So a lot of good play potential there from the Sven. And while it is a bit of a lengthy cooldown, at least you can kind of try and fight around Phantasm going into God's strength.
still going to go for the Shadow Fiend despite the fact that they've got a Bane that will most likely be babysitting the mid and enfeebling. But again, if Shadow Fiend can, get a couple times, I think what's like 3 or 4 times that the former team was able to go ahead and just farm up some of those souls for him, he should be off to a decent start at the very beginning here. So
yeah, and Bane, as far as I remember, Enfeeble doesn't reduce bonus damage. It's only the base damage, so the souls damage won't get affected, and you can go into lane with a good like 30 or so damage. You'll still be hitting for around like 50, which isn't as powerful as maybe you'd like, but it's still at least something that you can try and go into. But this Tinker last pick I really like from Infamous. The blind is going to do a lot of work. They don't really have the best catch for it. It's like Sladine has to be on point, nailing these hook shots on the Tinker. If the Clockwork cannot get on top of the Tinker, then it's going to be a very, very good Tinker game, I think.
Well, they don't have the best way to really harass a Tinker in lane, although because I say that now, it'll probably be Caster's Curse, and maybe Pepito will struggle a little bit, but yeah, I mean, the catch is okay. It's not the best, so if Pepito can really start going on this, it will become a big problem, especially if he gets the Ags, goes for the lasers and such, but we'll find out here, guys. I'm sure we'll see the Shadow Fiend hitting some cogs in that well, and we'll head into game number 1. Alright, doesn't look like they're getting too adventuresome here. No smoke on the Bane, no smoke over on the Schofield. And it looks like they're doing the cogs trick over here.
I'm gonna have to quickly disconnect, reconnect, because my camera is stuck.
Oh no.
So I will be right back.
Alright. We'll just sit here and we'll watch Shadow Fiend hit these cogs and get himself some nice souls. I was watching a team earlier that was trying to do this, and I think one of their supports didn't quite understand what he meant, because all of a sudden I looked over, the support had 2 denies, and there was a lot of pinging going on. So I'm guessing that he didn't quite get it, and the Shadow Fiend started off with a few less souls than he wanted, but we do see he's not going to really go for this rune. Puck going to hang out over here, and they probably know that he's trying to farm up those souls. Reality Rift is picked up over on the Chaos Knight. He'll get a couple hits off over onto Puck. Doesn't seem to care too much, but they know that this is definitely their particular rune, and they can probably get one more set of cogs here over to block the creeps and also give Atan a better start. Yeah, and in fact, that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Cogs come out, and they get 1 extra deny here for the Shadow Fiend. So it's going to start off in lane, 14 hits here, and nice body block coming out as well. Looks like Sand King's going to take the creeps on a little journey, but he loses a couple of them here. It's definitely not what Old Stinger really wants to have happen.
Yeah, that's not exactly where you would like to take the creeps. I mean, he can kind of like cut his way through the trees. He's still messing up the equilibrium a little bit, but not really what he wants to do. And it's interesting, actually. They're gonna throw Schofield on the Elder Titan mid to harass instead of a Bane.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised about that, but there's only so much that he can really do against a Puck, I guess, in the bottom lane. So maybe that's why they swapped it up. Would prefer though to actually see the Bane over in mid, especially because Atan, he's up to 17 souls now. It would give Pepito a little bit more of an advantage if they could curl that a little bit. But we'll place a high ground ward, and Clockwork gonna be as annoying as possible, trying to burn off a bunch of that mana on Tinker so they can't constantly just be spamming that laser and causing Atan to miss.
Yeah, I think the reason they sent the Bane down to bottom is like Elder Titan has 0 capabilities to do anything to Puck, whereas Bane, if it gets a good time Nightmare off, can maybe like interrupt the orb and then get a kill with the CK. It does leave Atan pretty okay in the mid lane though.
Oh man, T-Tours, they actually get the first blood in the top lane. KZE will get taken down.
Did you catch how that happened? Because like
no, I didn't. I was looking at the bottom lane. And somehow they managed to get the kill on Rubik, which is a little surprising here. There's a lift into the cogs. Looks like Schofield trying to get himself out. Will be able to break open the cogs, but he'll still get taken down.
Yeah, I mean, as an Elder Titan, there's nothing you can do once a Clockwork gets on top of you. You can't get off. Like, there's literally no chance you get off Echo Stomp, and even if you get an Astral, you're getting a little bit of damage.
And we saw a really fun game earlier where they had a Clockwork and a Tiny, and Tiny just continuously. Looks like Puck was canceled out with that illusory orb. Lots of hits coming out. They're going to be able to get a kill on it.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen a lot in this lane now. Bane's just going to Nightmare anytime Puck throws out the orb, and as long as the timing is decent, Puck will fall to the Reality Rift Chaos Bolt.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get himself away if you Nightmare him during that course of the time when he can get out.
Yeah. And Puck has pretty low armor, so the Reality Rift is doing a lot of extra damage. Falls to like -1 armor.
Do you think Tinker gets really like mad to see Clockwork? You know, technically like a little, not a Tink bot exactly, but you know, he's a little robot just kind of like taunting him here in mid.
Well, in the lore, they're cousins, so I mean...
Oh, they're cousins. Okay.
Yeah.
I better go watch some of Slacks' Loregasm.
Oh, I mean, Slacks doesn't cover that kind of stuff. He's too busy doing headcanon theories. Just kidding, I love you, Slacks.
Looks like Stinger's taking a lot of harass here from the creeps that he's trying to grab away from the pole, and we'll drag them all the way over to his side. How's Stinger doing? He's actually doing pretty well. He's level 3 already. He's got most of his Tranquil Stone, I believe, coming out on the courier. No, actually, he's just got more raindrops coming out. He's just farming away. Full bottle, though. Wow. I guess with the change to the bounty runes being where they are, we're going to try to jump over here onto this Tinker. They've got the battery assault. Cogs come out. We just need a couple raises here out of Atan. We'll just try to get a couple clicks off and finally finish up. He's sitting so very low, but not going to be able to finish up over onto the Shadow Fiend. Oh, Bane! Bane! He shows up! And Sol, God, going to be able to get that kill.
Bane with the early boots pickup. Getting really good roaming around gun. First kill on the off laner on the Puck, which is pretty hard kill. Now getting the Shadow Fiend, who's already down to 9 souls, and man.
I mean, he's ahead in terms of CS though too. He's sitting at 18 and 26. Tinker's sitting at 10 and 3. So, I mean, still doing well enough in his lane. Did, you know, end up falling, but as did the Tinker. There's the lift coming out here from the Rubik. They'll push him all the way down to the low ground. The Nightmare coming out. Looks like they'll still be able to get that final raise and take him down.
Yeah, that was really well done by KZE there. Chucks him to the side of the cogs, get that extra stun, get the mana burn, as well as making sure that Shadow Fiend Knight does not suffer the whole duration of the Nightmare, canceling that out so Shadow Fiend can get the raises off to get the kill on the Bane. Well played by KZE there.
Couple little clicks coming out here from the Puck. He knows that there's no longer a Bane in his lane, so he can be a little bit more aggressive and get himself those last hits. Although he does have to be careful. CK does hit very, very hard here. He doesn't have the Illusory Orb, does have the Waning Rift. Goes for the just dodging away, but if he gets a big, oh, this is looking bad for SNK. Not going to be able to get away in nick of time. Tried to with a cheeky play using that Waning Rift, but right-click damage was just too good.
Yeah, it was a really good fake out from the CK there. He pump fakes the Chaos Bolt, baits out the phase shift, and Puck gets the 2-second stun.
Benjaz will turn himself back around. They found themselves Schofield. It looks like Schofield doesn't have Echo Stomp now. There's a lot of just mini stun coming out from this battery assault, and we'll run exactly right towards KZE. But while this is all going down, we lose Pepito over in mid. Maybe trying to outplay each other. Looks like he just pops that salve as well, so perhaps they were both low. Pepito thought he could get that kill.
Yeah, and this is one of those matchups that, with a little bit of help from the early supports and a decent start, Tinker can very easily bully a Shadow Fiend out of lane. But because of this Clockwork abuse and the early roaming from the Rubik as well, Shadow Fiend has a huge amount of base damage advantage. Tinker can't really secure last hits. Every time Laser is on cooldown, Shadow Fiend just dominates this lane. and the burst damage just isn't going to be there. Atun's just spamming.
I really love that the two of these guys have been spamming their taunts. I'm a big fan of, especially the clockwork taunt. That's one of my favorites, I think. But yeah, Pepita kind of struggling a little bit in this lane to keep up with Shadow Fiend. They've got the Astral Spirit out, throwing out a bit of harass, although they will be able to go ahead and grab Schofield into these cogs and gonna burn off a lot of his mana. They've got the Battery Assault. Can Shadow Fiend get there over in time, though? Doesn't look like he's gonna need to. Schofield sitting very low. He's actually gonna make it out. He's got 60 hit points. He's gonna limp his way out here just in the nick of time.
Oh, Pepita gets really low there, but the blind saving his life.
Got the bottle too. We'll be able to bottle himself. Looks like Clockwork though, figuring maybe he's gonna be headed towards that fountain or the shrine rather. No, he's just gonna make a full rotation down to the bot lane against the CK. CK actually gonna use his Phantasm, going for the just farming top lane though. Looks like they'll be able to get a kill over onto KZE again, followed up with a nice Burrow Strike coming out from Stinger. They've got the Bane standing nearby and Schofield, but a little bit of extra armor coming off the Sven with the War Cry. And they'll just back themselves off to the tower.
You know, it's one of the few times that I see a CK grab this early level of Phantasm. Most CKs, they just kind of, you know, wait till later on, like around like level 10 or 11, and that's when they grab it. But he's opted to not get any more points of Chaos.
Oh boy, that's a lot of damage getting dumped out over onto the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, I don't think Atun was expecting Phantasm to A, be skilled, B, already get popped.
Oh boy, Puck's now in a lot of trouble as well. He's going to try to run himself out. They don't quite land that Echo Stomp.
I would have been really impressed if Schofield managed to time that. That's a very small timing window with phase shift.
I'm taking a look at CS right now. 62 and 23 on the CK, 55 and 10 on the Sven.
Yeah, and I mean, Sven, despite being pretty good at clearing CK, has to make sure that he's the one going on the CK. If CK goes on Sven, I mean, it's going to be... Sven could very easily get blown up if he's not careful going into the late game. And there's about a 1,000, 1,500 net worth advantage on for CK right now.
Clockwork making his way over, throwing out that taunt as well. Can he get the cogs off in time? No, he's just going to take a little bit of a nap. Looks like KZE going to be able to throw him back, though, hoping that maybe this Nightmare is going to wear off, and he now finds himself in not a very great position. Yeah, they're going to actually have to go ahead. They use the Dream Coil. It doesn't actually connect on anyone, though. Schofield now in a little bit of trouble, though. They've got their eyes on the prize. God Strength actually getting popped as well. Can they grab him? And they'll be able to interrupt this with a very nice Burrow Strike. Looks a little bit scary for Stinger here right now. Might be able to get himself away. They'll turn themselves back around. They get the kill over onto the Sven, and now it looks like SNK tries to get himself out, but that brain sap, fairy dragon brains, too delicious.
Did you just say fairy dragon brains are too delicious?
Yeah, it's brain sap. You know, sometimes the Banes just gotta have some Puck brains.
I mean, all right, Moxie, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Moxie. CK though was like waiting on the high ground around these ancients. Where Sven's TPing right now. He was waiting, and Atun came up, and then CK was like, nah, I'm just going to go top instead. Like, he almost had the full kill on Atun, and was like, nah, I'm just going to go top and kill Sven instead. I think a much better use of his time, because Atun, you know, he's doing very well in farm. He's close behind the CK, but CK will just absolutely shred him going into the late game. The key is keeping Benjaz down, because he's the only one that can really, truly deal with CK going into the late game.
Phantasm comes out here. He's just going to try to mow down this top tower here in the Dire. And we do have the Dire kind of scoping around through this jungle. They've got a smoke up and running. Looks like Clock, he's trying to find this Tinker most likely. And they haven't been stacking for him. And he spent most of his time in lane. I haven't seen him actually try to wander around at all. But, yeah, there's the hook shot coming in over onto the Tinker. The rest of the team jumping over. Looks like SF just going to taunt himself out. Doesn't want to dive the tower. Knows that the kill has been secured. And there are a bunch of TPs coming out. The Fiend script gets used, though, over onto the Puck. Going to try to take him down. Should be able to get it. And meanwhile, Shadow Fiend, Atun going to get taken down. CK is just really strong. Going to try to throw him into these cogs here. Clockwork Kid seemed to figure out exactly what he wants. And we also lose Schofield as well.
Yeah, you're losing 2 cores though for core and a support. Not the best trade around. Keeping the Tinker down is great, but this CK is just running rampant right now. 6,900 net worth at 12 minutes in. This guy is just terrifying.
He's got the full armlet. He got a couple kills on Puck early as well, so wasn't able to really contest too hard. Definitely keep your eye on him. I think they should probably grab a smoke and maybe try to jump him. Slow him down a little bit.
Yeah, Benjaz is going to go for like an SNY, try and fight earlier on, rather than something like the Blink BKB where you just, you know, want to wait until you have that kind of timing. He's going for this SNY early fighting build because he has to try and be able to deal with the CK. Otherwise, he's just going to, like, CK is just going to get massive and not be able to deal with.
Looks like he's just gonna move himself around here in the jungle, try to do some scouting, and maybe they'll go for a push here on the bot lane because we do have the Puck standing nearby. He's working at his blink dagger here, but there's a big grouping. Are they gonna go for a smoke or something?
I don't really think they need to. They have one on Bane if they want to.
Clockwork. Goes in for the hook shot. Will manage to land over onto the CK, and the Chaos Ball coming out with the Reality Rift that will turn this back around. They won't seem to get too much out of this.
I mean, that is balls of steel right there from the CK. He's like, I'm getting ganked. All right, I'm gonna kill your core first, then I'll deal with you.
I mean, he's pretty big. He's just finished his Echo Saber. Like, he's got Echo Saber, he's got treads, and he's got the armlet already at 13 minutes in. That's really, really good. Bottom lane, they found themselves a couple people that will be good to get the kill over onto the Bane. Can they get the kill over onto Schofield as well? There's going to be the epicenter, though, coming in from Stinger. Will get a full duration off, and they'll try to TP Benjaz out, but there's just... No, he's going to get taken out the last second. Not quite enough time to get himself back to that well. And Puck, who's got about 1,000 gold on him, will just walk away and keep going for that Blink Dagger.
Yeah, and meanwhile, CK pops Phantasm, farms a nice little ancient stack, and then kills a Clockwork. And now he's going the rest of his Phantasm duration and farming the wave, farming those ancients while he's pushing the mid tower in. He's just getting so much done around the map. He's got a 3,000 net worth advantage on both of the dire cores. The only one who's kind of having a tough time is the Tinker, but now he's got his bots online. He's going to start scaling very well. And he can bots onto the Astral Spirit, as far as I remember, unless they patch that out.
So this is a pretty big reveal here. It looks like Puck was going to try to get himself out, but Stinger, he's got that Blink Dagger now. We'll be able to cancel it, chasing out the Puck here. Puck has no mana left, but there's a lot of other people standing nearby ready to provide the support. Clockwork also off on the side with Auton here. So if they decide to go any further, they will find themselves outmatched in numbers.
Yeah, and meanwhile, CK pushes in top. He's going towards that Blink Dagger, which is kind of a newer build that I actually really like, because you pop the Phantasm, you blink in with your main CK, and the Reality Rift pulls all of your illusions in with you, and you can very quickly surprise somebody with a 0 to 100 death.
Some of the scariest types, right?
Yeah.
Sun King finds himself. Oh, there's the Earth Splitter. And there was a Benjaz there, but he's gone now. Nightmare coming out, trying to slow down this Clockwork a little bit. Excel got in a little bit of trouble trying to run away from the battery assault. Clockwork kind of tunneling a little bit on him. They will be able to possibly grab the Sand King. The Yules comes out, and looks like they're going to retreat. They get a kill over onto the Rubik now that Tinker has shown up. And it looks like Clockwork going to try to run himself away, hoping maybe that they follow the jump forward, though, and they found the Dream Coil over onto the Sand King. He will get taken down, especially with that Dream Coil snapping. Looks like SNK trying to get out, but there's just too much damage coming out with the CK. And they'll turn themselves around. Auton's getting ready. He will be able to get off the Requiem of Souls, but the CK is just too tanky. He doesn't care at all. They'll be able to land an Echo Stomp, and that's a triple kill. This CK hasn't died at all. 9, 0, and 2, and is just wrecking everything in his path.
Yeah, and he has no fears about popping Phantasm just for farming either. Like, he's like, all right, we just took a huge fight, wiped their whole team, Phantasm's off cooldown. I might as well just pop it to get some farm the same way that, like, a Sven would to clear some stacks. Really like this, like, really early up-tempo playstyle.
There was a Rubik there.
Was there? Are you sure?
It was for a brief second. If you blink, you might have missed it, but...
That was... I mean, this... I can't believe how easily this CK is running away with this game.
I think they need to put more pressure on him in the bot lane so he didn't accelerate as fast as he did, but they're struggling a bit in the top.
And like most times you see a Sven and you would think, okay, well at least he's gonna have like these really big ancient stacks to go and farm, but KZE and Sladine haven't had the time to go around and make those stacks. Or if they have, the one time Benjaz was farming the ancient stack, it gets very easily contested thanks to a nice ward on the high ground, and Benjaz gets absolutely blown up. And then we saw that, you know, team wipe from Mad Kings. It was just really tough Sven game for Benjaz to deal with, you know.
Yeah, they're losing towers like left and right here on the side of Mad Kings. They lost the top tower. I believe just the CK alone was able to take it down. And now with the Tinker just constantly with those boots of travel pushing out every single lane, it's going to be pretty difficult for them here. Bottom tower, though, getting wailed on by Benjaz and Natan. Should be able to take that down. So that'll be their first tier 1 here for the side of Mad Kings.
Yeah, the CK is going right for the heart. Man, that's
scary. Look at him.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
You think he cares, towers? He DCs.
He does not care. And meanwhile, Atun, like, he's got his Yule Scepter, but he's like 3-4 levels behind where the CK is. Same story for the Sven. Sven's trying to finish his SNY. Blink Dagger's trying to get finished by Atun, but even once they have, you know, Blink Dagger, SNY, these aren't these huge damage items, right? These are small little things that are going to help them in the early game. But Blink Dagger lets you get off a good Requiem. We already saw a full Requiem get dumped on CK. He didn't care.
Oh boy. Well, Earth Splitter's down. Earth Splitter's down, and Puck is out of here. Yeah. So.
And Fiend's Grip. Fiend's Grip got used at least, which is something.
I just don't know how you take down the CK now, looking at what they have on the enemy team. He's so tanky. He's dishing out so much damage.
Oh, it feels so bad to be Rubik there. Like, you see it coming, you're running away as fast as you can, and then you just get pulled back in.
Those are the worst deaths, like I was telling you. Oh, do they find Atun over here? They do, but he's not going to be able to go ahead and stun him. Not in time anyways. Yeah, the worst deaths are the ones that you see coming, and you know that you're going to die, and you can't do anything about it.
Like,
at least that's what I
cast. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Because you're stuck there as KZ. You know he's faster than you, but if you turn around and try and kill him and lift him away, you waste so much time, you just die anyway.
All right, the hookshot coming in over onto the CK. Immediately going to be able to put out the Dream Coil. They'll use the God Strength, turn themselves back around. They really want to get the CK if possible. And they might actually be able to do it this time. He's going to try to toggle his armlet. He's almost out, but then that last hit coming out from the Clockwork will be able to foil him. Jump forward coming out from Pluck will be able to throw out the Waning Rift. Illusory Orb pushing forward, and he'll turn back around though, try to get that Burrow Strike off. Will connect, but there's just too much damage coming out. And they will be able to clean up. So, good team fight going over to the side of Mad Kings. They sorely needed that. They finally slew the mighty CK. In fact, how much gold did they get for the CK?
I think it was like 965 for the Clockwork.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite see it because the way his name was, it was like covering, but I think it was 965. And overall, it was a 3,200 net worth swing the other way. That finishes up the Blink and then some for Atun. SNY is now done on Sven, and he needs himself, like, I think either like an early BKB or something to just be able to stand in these fights. Yeah,
I was actually looking at the net worth before, and it was climbing very, very quickly going to the side for Infamous. It was about 12,000. It's now dipped back down to 10. Still a sizable swing over to the side of Infamous, but it's starting to come back down. Same thing goes for experience earned. It was about 10,000 experience. It is now dipped down to 5,000 lead. And while this is all going down, we have a fight over here in the Dire jungle. Looks like Puck gonna barely make his way out here. CK, though, he's back with a vengeance. We'll get the kill over onto that Clockwork, and they will also lose the Rubik. Earth Splitter does get committed, but no one's alive for it to hit.
Yeah, everyone's been cleared out. And Benjaz is just like, all right, I'm going to push out top because everyone's mid. But he can't even show himself in lane to push this tower, right? He has to, like, there's a Tinker on the map. Tinker's just going to spam out the wave, blink, you know, probably chuck out a laser, and this fence is just going to die. So he has to push out the wave and then retreat to the jungle to try and farm.
I mean, he's frantically trying to get this BKB. He knows this is the item that he needs to get, but he's rapidly losing map here.
Yeah, and CK is going to have heart. I want to say by the time he makes it to the secret shop, he'll farm his way through these camps and then get his heart. Actually, he's just going to sell his wand.
CK's a fatty here. He's got quite a bit of net worth. And quite a bit of kills, too. 12, 1, and 3. Oh, my lord. Big hook shot coming in. Jumps over onto this Bane. He'll just go ahead, try to duck the Echo Stomp. Not going to be able to. And in comes CK and says, oh, how nice. You found me a Clockwork. Nightmare comes out. We'll buy him a little time. But finally, last hit of that hammer. Or axe, I guess, is what he's carrying in this one.
I mean, Rubik steals Reality Rift, but that's probably one of the worst things you can steal as Rubik, because then you're in melee range to...
Well, who's he gonna grab? Like, that's, I mean, unless he's willing to give up his life for maybe Pepita if they're able to get close enough to him. Yeah. He's still gonna die either way, though, like you said. Doesn't really want to be that up close and personal with people. He doesn't even have his arcane boots yet, Forge. For KZE.
Does he have brown boots?
He does.
I would have... before I clicked on him, I was thinking I would totally believe it if you said he didn't even have boots yet. I would have 100% believed you.
He's not that poverty. But he's definitely living that very poor support life here. Roche gets taken. Draken gonna be able to grab that Aegis. So first of all, he's pretty unkillable, right? He's only died once. Now he's got an Aegis. You gotta find a way to kill a CK with 4.3k health twice now.
Yeah, and he's gonna get the Lincolns because, I mean, most of their good stuns are single target. You've got like Rubik Lift and Sven stun. So if you get the Lincolns, the best you have is Hookshot and like Dream Coil, I guess. You have nothing to do.
That's not too certain about that.
Like, you don't have a way to keep the CK really grounded, and if he's running around doing whatever, he just blinks his way out of the fight or runs away from the fight and just regens up with his heart. And what do? He's got 4,400 HP after he pops Armlet. Like,
he's just gonna walk right into the space. They don't even creeps just yet. He doesn't even care. Look at this regen. It's just out of control.
Yeah. And like Atun's pushing in bottom lane with Sadine sitting behind him, and yeah, they're probably gonna get this tier 2, but in the meanwhile, they're gonna lose their full.
Yeah, they're gonna lose Rax. Although maybe they figure they'll take whatever they can get. Oh boy, yep, there was a Rubik there. I blinked, I missed it, but I just saw the death show up on the feed. He is out of there.
And that's a full lane of Rax that they can do nothing about, because Sven doesn't have his BKB yet. Even if he did have his BKB, he doesn't have a blink to like get in there. He has to clumsily walk up, pop God Strength, pop Warcry. It's just not a great game for Mr. Benjaz.
Clockwork is frantically trying to run himself away. 2 rockets right at his face. Will be able to go and hook over to these neutrals and make his way out. I mean, honestly, they could just live in that base at this point with the CK being as farmed as he is.
Yeah, and like, even if Aegis expires, I fully believe that they can just walk back up to top lane and do the exact same thing. Well, even if Aegis expires by then. Because they do have to wait for Phantasm, so it's going to give a small timing window for Mad Kings to kind of farm up and be okay, but it's not enough. They really, really need these BKBs. But even, like I said, even once they get those, CK...
He's just doing so much damage. He's hitting so hard.
Yeah, and he grabbed the Reality Rift, Pierce's Spell Immune talent as well. So BKB is not even going to do that much.
Yeah, 25 minutes in, he's level 20 here. What do you even do?
I mean, normally I would say you find a smoke gank, you go and you try and pick somebody off, but who are you going to pick off? Sand King is always running around with Bane. Elder Titan is always running around with the Chaos Knight, and the other one is a Tinker, who you have to commit Clockwork plus Puck plus one more to maybe kill, I would say. I mean, it's a tough game for Mad Kings. Tough draft.
And I think just having the CK being as large as he is just a huge problem. And I think there's not too much that they can do about it at this point. You know, Sven's kind of struggling here. He is sitting at 3rd net worth, but he's got that BKB, and it doesn't matter because he's just going to get drawn into the loving embrace of a Chaos Knight who's going to murder him. BKB or no BKB.
And like, when you see a Tinker and a CK in the same draft, you have this moment where you're like, no matter what we focus here, one of these heroes that we don't want to have a good start is going to have a good start. So it was a tough decision, and I think, in all honesty, I think they made the right one. I think shutting down the Tinker is a bit more important than shutting down the CK when you have this Sven. The problem was that as they were shutting down the Tinker, Sven wasn't able to like super explode out of control and match what the CK was doing, which was the real big problem.
I'd agree with that. I think the CK just had a little bit too much freedom, whereas Sven was constantly dealing with people in his lane, and they put a lot of pressure on him. Not quite sure I really loved the CK. Sorry, not the CK, the Sven pickup, but you know, they had an idea. They figured there was going to be some sort of illusions coming out, and they took a gamble on it. Might have had a better time with it if they were able to get more stuff done with Sven, but smoke comes out. They're going to try to make a play here, and they're going to let Benjaz lead the way. He does have the Storm Hammer. They're going to wrap around.
Should be expiring right about now, so this is a good timing. Yeah, Aegis just expires.
Aegis expires. There's a jump forward. Requiem with Souls. BKB comes out over onto Aten. They'll follow it up with that hook shot. Now Sven turning back around. They get a nice recoil, but look at this damage coming out. It's just huge. Oh my goodness, and it looks like we're going to lose the Sven. We'll lose the Rubik. And now Clockwork trying to run himself away here as Sand King comes around the corner on the hunt. That BKB just didn't matter.
Yeah, he pops the BKB. He tries to go on Schofield, and CK's like, hey.
CK just blows him up.
And that's the thing, right? If Sven isn't going in on the CK can still very easily deal with him just because you cleave in a direction, and if you're cleaving in the wrong direction, that's what happens. We just saw what happens, Moxie.
Yeah. It looks like they're gonna go for the full megas here. There's really nothing that they can do about it. Yeah, they call the GG. I think that's a good call. Sven just not gonna be able to be effective. And they'll disconnect. So first game of the series going over to the side of Infamous.
They just drafted themselves really well. They kind of drafted Mad Kings into a corner, like I said, where it's like, we have a Tinker and we have a CK. You can shut down one. Take your pick. And
all right, guys, we'll be back with game number 2, so stick around.